Hi, good morning. Welcome to King's Couch, where the Word of God is everything. Remember, we've been talking about faith, and Leon is going to teach you all a little bit more on faith and talk about Moses.
Yes, Moses. Now, guys, listen. You know how I am with these characters. They're my favorite characters, so I know a lot about them. And one thing about Moses is that throughout his life, he had to have a lot of faith. And I'm going to share some things with you. And that family that he was with had a lot of faith. So it starts off like this, guys. Check this out. So Moses was a baby in that little area back during that time in Egypt. They were slaves and they were in Goshen. And the Egyptians ruled them. They were the slaves for them. Now, what happened was the Pharaoh's son made a decree that every child, every little boy, because they ain't want no more boys, because the Egyptians weren't having enough boys, the Egyptian women. But they noticed that the slaves in Goshen, the women were having many kids. They had to slow them down because they're going to overtake them. They keep on having all these babies, and especially all these baby boys. So they put a decree out to kill every boy, every newborn child during that time. Now, what happened was Moses' mom, she had a lot of faith, I'm going to tell you, because not only did she put him in a basket during that time, in a basket in the Nile River, put little Moses in there, and she also knew that she would be the woman to be the woman that would nurse the baby when the baby gets to Egypt and gets picked up by, who she got picked up by was Nefertari, the sister of the king back then. Now, the strangest thing happened, guys, which is just strange, that Moses gets to this water, he crying, he's in his baby, he's in the basket, he crying, you got the snakes, you got the crocodiles gonna knock him off anytime, and she picks him up, and she accepts him. She knows, because they got the cloth in there from the slaves, got wrapped up in a little cloth. She knows, but her slave, I would say probably her handmaiden, whoever it was, she had nerve to say something smart. Talking about, yeah, I know you ain't gonna be taking this little Hebrew baby and make him yours, because he needs to go right back to the Goshen house where he came from. And she said, if you say something, you'll never live to see another day. Now be quiet. So she didn't say nothing, but later on you realize, oh, she ran her mouth. So Moses grows up with that rich family of the Pharaoh. He's underneath them. He has a brother. He's the stepbrother of the Pharaoh's son, his biological son. And what ended up happening, guys, that during that time, Moses, as he grew up and he was doing things for the king of Egypt, he comes home one time with all the spoils. He's got spoils from the Ethiopians. He brings that home. He brings it into the castle where they are, and he lets the people know what he's did with the Ethiopians. He's got them there. He's got the king and the queen of Ethiopia, and he has the spoils. The brother gets kind of jealous. You know you always got one. The brother gets jealous. So he goes on and says, he just kind of gave him that look. And then his father, the Pharaoh, says, well, it looks like Moses did his job, but look at you. He needs somewhere to put all these goods that he's captured. We ain't got nowhere to put it because you haven't finished building what I told you to build with our slaves. And then the brother says, well, why don't you let Moses do it since he can do everything? So if there's any problem with that, and then Moses' brother says something like to the effect of, well, there is a problem because those slaves have got in their mind that they got a deliverer coming. And then the father said, what do you mean a deliverer? Who deliverer? Some deliverer is coming to free the slaves. Now, Moses is curious because he doesn't really know where he came from. Remember, Moses just got there. He's been living with them, and he really don't know. They haven't told him anything. But I think the heart of God was always upon him. And during that time, when the father said, the king said to the son, his stepbrother, Moses' stepbrother, well, you need to find out who this deliverer is and when he's coming. Because if so, I want to see him and I want him brought right to me. So the son went forward with it. They get to Moses' house with his family. Now, these are all believers. And Moses, what had happened prior to that, Moses did two things. That the mother was stuck in some rocks or some kind of cement or some kind of partly when they was building one of them pyramids. And Moses took her out of that from her dying. He took her out, older lady, which happened to be his mother, then turned right back around, and an Egyptian taskmaster was beating down one of the slaves, and Moses killed him.
And guess who he was, y'all? It was Aaron. Aaron was the one that God sent to him, who spoke so eloquent, who did all the talking for Moses. Aaron was the one who was like his right-hand man.
Yes.
And Moses was sent out, put out of the land, and he went on his journey. He crossed the sand, and guess what? They only gave him 1 day of food. So when Moses went to the land, he ended up falling out in another city. And a bunch of women found him.
Some fine ones too. And I'm gonna tell you, them women out there, about like 8, 9 of them. Moses had a choice of all these pretty women. And the women had one man that they all wanted. But they had an older sister who always got her way. And them little women was like kind of a little bit jealous of the older sister. And Moses just so happened when they brought Moses into the tent with the father loved Moses. And he said, and you have a choice of all my daughters. Which one would you like, Moses? And Moses couldn't make that decision. But also, let me check this out. Moses, and I say this to y'all, because through the story, you'll find out that Moses really didn't have a lot of faith like we feel that he probably had. He always was doubting himself. And you all go through that too. You know, when God tells you something and he speaks to you and he said, you can do this, you can do that. You have it in a dream, or you might have it with a revelation, and you still doubt it. And God put that in you. God's the one that put that in you. So we should not never put ourselves in a position where we doubt him. But we do that all the time, guys. And we need to really recognize if God said it, if God put it in you, then you know that it can be done. And even no matter what, go ahead, sweetie.
As a man thinketh.
So is he.
Proverbs 23:7. Read it. Read Proverbs. It has all types of revelation. But this, what we're talking about today, is on faith. And we thank you all for joining us this morning. And we'll see you again this time next week.
All right, guys. Enjoy.